Good day there. I'm Debi Davis, and this is Mind Your Own Business TV. Thanks for tuning in today. We're talking today with Turtle. He's a friend of mine, and he's one of the stars of Downey's Dickering. And Downey's Dickering can be seen on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on the History Channel. Welcome, Turtle.
Well, thanks for having me. Love to be here.
Now, you're also a show host on Uncle Henry's Talkin' Deals radio show.
That's right. That's on the Lobster Network,
That's
WLOB,
right.
on Saturday mornings.
Exactly, 7 a.m., by the way.
Right.
And we just got done doing a show this morning.
Yes.
And we scooted on over here to interview you because you're not a Mainer. You live in Vermont.
Right, in the Northeast Kingdom.
Yeah, right. Fantastic. So let's run a clip for those who haven't seen Downey's Dickering yet. Let's run a clip of the show so that you get an idea of what we're talking about.
All right.
In a small town in Maine, when you've known your neighbors for years, it's real easy to do business with everyone. $250 cash right there.
Sounds good to me.
I can't stop making money, and Dickering is how I do it. Swap and trade, buy and sell. The next day, you might be doing some serious labor. Dickering is a key to a certain type of freedom.
Now freedom.
My great-grandfather did it.
Foremost.
My grandfather did it.
It's just a word.
He's got the fever.
Like toast.
You said 400. 5, you got it?
I'll give you $400 right now, and I'll toast something for you.
Good enough.
And that's how you dicker.
How come you were so easy on Clint?
Because he doesn't know what I have to have told.
That's bartering, but it's not bartering. What was you thinking?
Gotta be straight cash?
Nope.
Some of the crazy deals we make, just unbelievable.
It's an honest way to get by. It suits us to a T.
Brand new Downey's Dickering. Starts Wednesday, November 5th. Exclusive to History.
That is a good show to watch.
It's a lot of fun.
Now, if you can't make it at the time it airs, you can always go to historychannel.com because they have the replays there.
That's correct. You can see all of the first season with MYOB.
Yes.
And anything you missed from season 2.
That's right. We have a clip of Turtle, so let's look at that now.
If you're happy with that deal, we'll be happy with the deal. So we're all good? We got a deal? I've been doing Dickering for a job for a long time. Some people say you dropped out. I dropped out of the 9-to-5 thing. I work for myself. I work for my customers. It's a treasure hunt. It's exciting. You absolutely have no idea what's going to happen an hour from now when you do this for a job.
Hook me up, $50.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
I'll never be rich. I give away as much as I sell. I can talk with paupers and kings and be in the same room on the same page with them. If you want to come down and look at our Virago, great. We could use a projector. Maybe we can do some business. I think most folks can understand every deal stands on its own.
I'm going to have $300 for that bike.
$280. You keep your paper on this till I bring back the mowers.
Deal.
Deal. It's a challenge. Every minute of your life, you're looking for that deal.
What are you going to get for this?
Those are 109.
Oh, no. No, seriously, how much is it?
I think it was Howard Hughes that said, when your work becomes play, you're successful. So from that point of view, I'm the most successful guy I know. I play all day. I love it.
I love it.
I do too.
I love it. Well, let me ask you how you got associated with being a member of the Downey's Dickering show.
How long's your show?
It's a while.
I was involved with a friend of mine. We had formed a company through a crazy idea in the winter about 4 or 5 years ago. And started having toasters made.
Okay.
We formed a toaster company that produced a peace sign on the piece of toast or a picture of Jesus.
You mean when it burned?
Yes.
The toast?
Yes.
That's what it came out as? That's clever.
A dog paw, things like that. Obama was just coming in. We did an Obama, Sarah Palin. And as the technology got a little better, we were able to do, folks could send in photos of their dog or their kid or whatever and have that made up.
No kidding.
Toaster, yes.
That's kind of cool.
So we had done some interviews for Howard Stern, and it became viral, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
And some folks that were putting a cast together for a show for Uncle Henry's, based on the Uncle Henry's magazine, saw me, knew I was from the Northeast, from New England, got a hold of me, and went from there.
There you are.
Yeah.
What was it like being on a reality show? Is it
Unreal.
all glitz and glam? And...
Oh, no, it's totally different than what you might expect. You're up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You're working as long as the union lets the camera crew work.
Okay.
And once in a while, you have to do things more than once.
Oh, a couple more takes?
Yes, not so much the dickering, obviously, but they call it pickups, and that's the discussion you have about a specific scene, about what might be coming up next. And sometimes you'd have to do that a few times.
Well, the clip we just saw of you, how long did that take to put together? Do you know?
That was probably 2 hours up in Lewiston for myself.
Yep.
It was basically, I got to watch some of the other fellas do theirs first, so I could pretend I knew what I was doing. And it was basically almost the same thing as this, but sitting on a park bench and saying what you do and how you do it.
That's fantastic.
And Uncle Henry's was a big part of my life, buying, selling, swapping.
Yeah.
And they made me a lot of money over the years with their book. And they asked me to be on their show, and I thought it would be a gas, and it was a gas.
There are a lot of people who make their living via Uncle Henry's.
Yes, there is. There's, I got to say, more than a third of the folks that I deal with out of Uncle Henry's are regulars.
Are they?
Yes, it isn't just a tag sale because you're moving. There's folks that recognize that there's folks that want, folks that have to sell. So put them together.
Well, as we know, we are both hosts on the Uncle Henry's Talking Deals radio show every Saturday morning. There are, the variety of ads that we find is just spectacular.
Yes, it is. A good example, we discussed a sardine festival last week.
Yes,
and,
we did.
People selling race cars or airplanes or somebody looking for a housekeeper in Texas. I mean, it covers everything.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes, indeed.
Uncle Henry's has been in my pocket for 40 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it like, what does it really mean to dicker?
I guess a lot of folks would just call that wheeling and dealing.
Right.
You have something you want, the maximum you can get for it. I want it, and I want to give the minimum I can for it.
Right.
So it's all a matter of you evaluating me, I evaluate you, and we try to come to some type of agreement where everyone's happy at the end.
You know, there's a lot of people that are intimidated by that process, though, especially if they're the buyer. Because some of these people with things to sell can really be staunch and serious and, oh, I gotta have what I asked for it, you know, and they just get so physically, you know, you can see rigid and they're not gonna move, and then the buyer's like, okay, well, I'll call you back.
Right? It's
It's
almost like it gets personal.
Yeah.
It's a different thing every time. Every person gives you a different, I don't know how to explain it, a different take on what suits them. If I'm making a deal in your home, we're in there talking about something, I'm going to look at your refrigerator.
Why?
Your refrigerator is going to give me a window of who you are in your house.
Really?
Yes. Whether it's recipes for a slow cooker or a picture of your cat or your kid's report card. I'm going to know more about you looking at your refrigerator than I just learned in 20 minutes talking to you.
Oh, that's a very good point.
So if you can come up with a commonality with the person, then it's us instead of you against them. It's us. And it's much easier for us to make a deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's just a little...
That's a good point, people.
Yes, it is. The one about what you said about there's some folks that are intimidated by that. I do occasionally run a flea market booth. And there's something to be said about pricing the stuff and not pricing it. If you don't price it, people have to talk to you.
Right.
And a lot of times folks are intimidated to ask because they don't want that sales pitch.
Yeah.
But then by putting the price out, you don't get a chance to speak with the people. So everybody feels differently about that, whether they should price it or not. And I try to speak with everyone if I'm running a flea market booth. And another quick tip, if you're carrying a bag or something, you're a customer. Rather than a looker.
Because I have something, I tend to fill it.
Or you bought something.
Or I've already purchased something.
Right, and then I'll ask you about your treasure.
Oh,
If
well,
I
look
can
at
put
you.
one of your treasures with my treasures, they can be your treasures.
Treasures together.
That's right.
I have to tell you, when I go to a flea market type of a place, I many times will browse, but when the person behind the table stands up and talks to me, I'm almost bothered because I want to see with my eyes what you have.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to talk to you. So should I not be that way? Should I engage?
It's, excuse me, it's like that with myself too. You know, if I want to look, I'm running things through my head, I might be thinking about somebody down the road that may want this item, or where have I seen this before and what is the price range? And when the person stands up to speak to me, it sometimes turns me off too. But then I'm on the other side of the table and I've got to do it. You can't, when you're dickering, people don't just walk up like they do at the store and just give you their money.
Right.
You know, it's always an interaction of some type.
And see, I'm the one who'll just give you the money. When I've made that decision to buy that item, I don't care. I'm okay with that price, and I've made that mental decision, and I'm ready to whip that money right out at you. Now, should I not?
It depends what you're after. If you're after the experience of dickering and the shopping, that's one thing. If all you want is that alarm clock, then you've got to handle it that way. But to me, there's the flea market or the dickering or the yard sale, it's also a show. You're not just selling the item. You know, there's an experience that goes with it.
There's probably a story, too.
Always. Always a story with it.
That we should probably take the time to hear.
Yes. You'd be surprised how many times you don't understand why something is overpriced. And then you talk and you find out it's been great-grandfathers and
it means a lot to them.
And before you're done, they're putting it back in the house and they're not selling it.
That's not
but
good.
It's like you saw in the clip, the biggest part of the job satisfaction is you truly, truly don't know what's going to happen. I know when we get done here, I've got a 4-hour ride, but I don't take the highway. You can never make a deal on the highway.
Yeah.
But I might see something in your yard. I'm always working, always looking.
There you go. That's awesome. What is your background? Because like the clip said, you had a 9-to-5 at one point in time?
Yes, I worked in retail and retail management for a while. I had left college, got married, left college. I went back to law school, actually. And I ended up working for one of the largest law firms in Vermont. And we say 9-to-5, but it was much greater hours than 9-to-5.
Sure.
I did a lot of traveling, representing the law firm all over the country. And when I originally had gone into law, it was to work with legal aid to help folks be an advocate. But I got wooed, just like a lot of folks do, by the paycheck
The money.
and the. I used to say I'm not going to open a door when I leave. When I would leave the house go on the road for the law firm, and there was always someone open the door at the Four Seasons, open the door at the airport, at the limo, and that's how it went. And I didn't like myself. I really didn't. There was I like myself a lot better now. Yes. I smile
Now that you're
a lot
opening your own door.
more. I smile a lot more. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you're not on this season of Down East Dickering.
No, I'm not.
Why aren't you on the show?
Well, there's two reasons that I know of. Of course, I could possibly be wrong, and the producers don't like me, but I think it's because the show is called Down East Dickering. Now, when we first got involved with the show, there was no title. There was no name for the show.
Okay,
it was
so they didn't know yet, right.
This was a concept of a gentleman named Kevin. He's been with Uncle Henry's a long time, and this was his dream, his baby. And there was no name yet, but the idea of the show was being developed, and the characters were being developed, and someone on the West Coast, now we say West Coast, somebody could be from Oregon, but when you say West Coast, we're thinking of Los Angeles.
Right.
When you say down east to someone out west, they think of New England.
Right.
It was very hard to communicate to a lot of these folks from out west that down east is down east. It's not New England. And let's face it, there's folks that live down east. They're proud of it. I live in Northeast Kingdom, and I like to announce that's where I'm from, a particular type of person from a particular area.
Right, right.
So in the first year of the show, they got a little bit of, I guess you'd have to say, negative feedback from folks because a lot of the show was being filmed in Vermont.
Oh, wow.
Uncle Henry's is from Maine, but of course it encompasses all of New England.
Yes.
And when you're from New England, to take a deal in Portland from 2 states away, it's a couple-hour ride.
Sure.
2 states away in California is see you Thursday.
Yes.
So they don't see it that way. So they decided to stick with the main idea and keep it closer to the truth. After all, it is
Down East
supposedly
Maine.
reality television.
Right.
So it's all taking place in Maine now.
Yeah.
The other reason is when we started filming season 2 last June, Johnny Awesome, one of my partners in the show, and myself crashed my motorcycle and sidecar extremely hard. So when they were filming season 2, I was sitting in traction.
You were healing.
Yes, yes. And it's
So
all
there
good
you
now,
go. There you go.
But I got an opportunity to work with your station and work with the Talking Deal show, and I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, we love having you as a host. Now, this is quite a contrast for you, though, not being a part of the show, because now you get to watch the show. So you have a different perspective. So what is it that you see sometimes that maybe the average person would not?
One thing would be how smoothly it all goes. I've got to say, the unsung heroes of these type of shows, the editors, they do not get the pats on the back. That they take a jumble of all this data and produce an entertaining program.
Right.
And that impresses me. It really does. And doing things over and over again, you know, you see, everyone's got their idea of the movies. Take 1, take 2.
Right.
That does happen.
Yeah.
When we're doing what they call pickups, which is basically sitting chatting about a scene that's coming up or one that you've just completed. So I'm watching it, and I know that this is a pickup, that he's not actually on real time.
Oh.
And I'll notice that the leaves have changed color, you know, and because the show
in the
was
shot,
filmed.
and we probably don't even notice
Right,
it.
because the show was filmed in July, but the pickups were done. Because they're not sure what they need for pickups, still the editors get everything
Right.
done. It isn't just put a camera in your truck and follow you around. That is a big part of it. That really is. But let's face it, it's not entertaining to see Turtle buy a vacuum cleaner for $3 and get 8. It's just not. You know, but
Well, you can't make that interesting. Come on.
maybe I could. You know, knock on the door, throw some dirt in, and we open the door.
Yes.
I've seen that.
That was classic.
Yes, I've seen that.
Oh, that would be too funny.
But I thought I wouldn't be able to enjoy the show, but I really do, because I know all the fellas.
Yeah.
And I got to say, as far as reality goes, what you see is what you get. When Tony is dealing in codfish or Yummy or Clint, that we've all spent some quality time together. And those
Yeah.
guys are that funny and that much fun. They really are. That, if I had to say what's the worst part about not being on the show this year, is visiting with those guys.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have much interaction during the filming? I mean, I'm sure you had some, but I imagine you're all everywhere.
We are. We did have interaction that we produced. The show folks didn't get us together. We all got together because we do the same job.
Yeah.
I saw her actually with some things Clint had through the show and got a hold of him and tried to make a deal with him. And
well, wasn't there one show recently where there was an item sold from one team to the other team, back to the other team, or something like that?
Yes, I saw that happen too. That was last summer at the Lewiston Armory. There was dickering days where all the full-time dickerers show up and get a booth like a flea market, and all the members of the show were there. And there was a block and tackle that Bruce was selling, and he sold it to one of the brothers, and then
with the brothers,
one of the brothers bought it.
Twins.
Yes, the twins.
Yes.
One of the brothers bought it, sold it to Bruce. Bruce sold it to the other brother. The other brother then sold it to Clint's partner, and it ended up starting at $2, ending at $10, and it was very, very funny. It's funnier than it sounds. It really was. It was 4 dickering deals, everyone thinking they were beating the other guy up.
Right,
and
right.
They weren't.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, you make your living now dickering.
Yes.
It must be difficult at times because you don't know if you can find a deal, if the deal's going to be made, if it's going to be made to your advantage or not.
This is very true, very true. It's feast or famine. I've never been one to put the money aside for the famine because I figure there's going to be a feast sooner or later.
Right.
Plus, you got to do investment. I mean, if I just made $300 today and then on the way home, like Jack and the Beanstalk, I'm going to stop at a tag sale. I'm going to stop somewhere, and I'm going to come home and say, honey, look what I got. And
is your wife supportive in this?
yes, she's my biggest fan, and yeah, she's supportive. Yeah, I don't know why, but she is. And
does she do any of this with you? Does she join you?
No, no, no. She'll go to the flea market and help me set up, you know, and then walk around and stuff. But she's not into the interaction with the customers as much as I am. And to me, that's as big a deal as making the money.
Well, you're quite interesting. You're a history buff.
Big history buff, yes.
What types do you like best, or is it wartime, or?
Well, wartime is all the time.
Well,
there's
yes.
always
something going on.
I like U.S. history mostly. I like the true history, and
what do you mean when you say true history?
Well, if we read a history book and hear about Christopher Columbus discovering America, and then we read about a fella named Maddox from Wales that was here in 597, you know, for 900 years before Columbus.
Wow.
You know, that's the real history.
Yeah.
The history of the Native Americans fascinates me. You know, that gets to me a lot. I really, really like to know why something is and why it isn't.
Right, right. Well, you've got me anxious to read something by Mishner.
Yes, he does a fiction, but it's 90% accurate. And everything, like he'll disclaim at the back of the book, these events are actual, but this person probably said these things, but of course nobody wrote it down.
Yes.
But he reveals a lot of history that we're not familiar with also.
I'm anxiously looking forward to that because some of the things you've told me sounds very intriguing. So what other adventures are you involved in? You've got film going on somewhere here?
Oh,
Projects?
Yes. I have a project going in the 70s and 80s. There was prevalent around the country, little local stations ran a show called Creature Feature.
I remember it well.
Yes.
I watched it every Saturday.
Well, and in our area, they taglined it by calling it Creature Feature 2000.
Oh, I love it.
I have to do this because every time that was said on the show, that was how they did it.
Really?
Creature Feature
2000.
And it was done by a fella named Too Tall Terry Dugan. He retired after doing it for years. He never changed it to 2001, 2002.
Right.
So I was doing actually a little dickering with a fella that is a station manager for where I live at Public Access, and we got talking about it, and we're reviving Creature Feature.
That's nice.
It'll be coming out on Kingdom Access Television, Channel 7, out of the cable network in northern Vermont, and
nice.
Maybe I'll get these folks to
You'll have to send us a copy. Yes, we'll have to air it here. That's fantastic.
The first show, I don't know the date, but it's going to be on a classic called Plan 9. Very interesting film from 1953.
Oh boy!
And
now, is this a genre that you like? The old-fashioned kind of, I don't want to say horror, but you know, scary movie type of thing.
Yes, it's that goes along with the history thing. Mm-hmm. You got to stop and think now. This movie from 1953. If we played it for my 4-year-old granddaughter, she would laugh.
Yes.
But in 1953, it scared the out of folks.
Yes.
We were naive prior to our exposure to mass media, I guess.
Right.
And when there's a fella sitting there looking just like every newscaster that you see on the newsreels, not on the 6 o'clock news, but on the newsreels, you listen to him, and it was on film.
Yeah.
So
it must be true.
It's an interesting look at how the world looked at things in 1950s and how Hollywood answered that.
That's interesting. Well, I can't wait to watch it.
Well,
so you'll
it's
have to definitely
pretty
send
good.
me a copy.
I've learned a lot of trivia about these shows, too.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I bet you have. So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Probably Jamaica.
Yeah?
No.
Really?
10 years from now, I would like to be hosting a probably talk show.
Yeah.
I really enjoy current events. I like getting to the root of things. And I remember a little pamphlet that used to come out when I was younger. It was called Pardon Me, But. And then the fellow would, it was just a little 5-page pamphlet. And it would be like, President Kennedy was shot in Dallas by so-and-so. Pardon me, but, and then he'd explain why, what was on CBS that day or whatever, no, not picking on CBS, wasn't the truth.
Oh.
So I like getting to the truth of things. I really do. And
now that presupposes that we don't always hear the truth.
right. And we all know that, I would hope.
I do believe we do all know that. Right. That the things that we hear, especially in today's media, is designed for a soundbite to get your attention. And then when you read further, the substance is really not there, or the proof of the accusation in the headline isn't there, or, you know, it's just someone's opinion turned into a news story.
It seems as though the talk shows hosts, whether it's radio, television, actually are almost more informative than what is portrayed as the media today.
News,
I mean, when you get headlines about Hollywood types instead of the Ebola count that's on page 3, I don't think it's society that's askew. I think it's the presenters that have an issue. I mean, yes, we have to do what sells papers, but or sells the information, we'll say.
Which really, if it's not what we want to hear, or, you know, or want, why do we buy it? Why do we read it? Why do we talk about it as if it's real? You know what I'm saying?
We're sheep. There's a lot of sheep out there.
We're sheep.
Yes.
That's not good.
I hate to say it, but, you know, we're spoon-fed a lot of information.
True.
And we take it, or we don't care.
Yeah.
One of my sons, he talks about things that are happening in his town, and I ask him, well, how did you vote on that bond issuings, I don't vote. My vote doesn't count. I feel as though I failed with that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's everyone should be involved. I think the talk shows really put stuff up front. It gives you, the normal person, an opportunity to speak their mind and hear other people agreeing with them. Sometimes you might say, you know, you keep it to yourself because you don't want to be a dissident or sound silly or whatever, but then you hear someone else emulating what you're thinking, then sometimes that helps get the truth out. And if something needs a change, the truth has to precede it or it's never going to change.
That's very true.
I mean, we don't have a bunch of weapons of mass destruction now, do we?
No, no, no. I think a lot of people don't dare to speak out, like you say, because their friends, their coworkers, their little clans all have a certain mindset, and so they don't want to speak against it. But when they're in private, they think otherwise. I have met lots of people, especially in the last primary and voting season, who have said to me, I don't dare to speak about what I really think to, you know, when the conversation comes up at work or in the family or what have you. Because it's just, I'm going to be challenged and I don't know what to say. You know?
I agree with that. Folks don't want to seem uncool or uninformed, and a lot of folks are uninformed.
That's true.
And so they don't speak up.
That's true.
It is a I don't know how to get around it other than to say the truth will set you free, whatever corny way you want to look at it. I don't believe most of what I hear. I research a lot.
And that takes time and that takes personal commitment to do that.
Yes.
And we encourage everybody to do that. Be informed on all aspects of a topic before you can decide how you really think about it.
There's always another side, always. The getting just the let's all be bipartisan about everything, you know, and I don't mean politics, you know, and that's what I'd like to do. You asked what I'd be doing in 10 years. I'd like to be able to have a show that speak your mind, be honest.
I think you would be awesome.
Well, if any stations out there are looking for somebody, you know.
Turtle is available.
I can shave.
But we don't want him to.
No, they'd have to be a 0 or 2 there. You know.
Or 3 or 4.
When I went to work at the law firm,
yeah,
I looked exactly like this.
Did you?
Yes. And I was behind the scenes contracts. I was supposed to, I have this thing where I can look at a contract that's a boilerplate. That means a common one. And I can tell you within a half a second a word that's wrong and go on to the next page. So I could go through contracts very fast and find anomalies in them. And I was there less than a year, and we were having the Christmas party at a very, very nice place. And the human resource person, who's an attorney, he said, I'll double your bonus if you do this. Nobody recognized me. I mean, I shaved, I cut my hair, I was wearing my suit. I looked like just like every other one of them in the room. Almost threw up. But I did get my bonus. And it was I'm glad things are going the way they are now.
Well, we're so glad to have you weekly on the Uncle Henry's Talking Deals radio show. He's really a great addition to the show. He brings a lot of knowledge and a lot of inside information. Great connection between Down East Dickering and the Uncle Henry's radio show with you being a part of it.
That's, you know, the show is a hit on History Channel because it's so, it speaks to what everybody does. Everybody that knows anything about Uncle Henry's or anybody that's in New England knows about Uncle Henry's. And I've got to say, you know, so many people you ask, they know all about it. They got their first car. They bought their dog. You know, geez, I got my if you're a fisherman, you know, you're buying a boat through Uncle Henry's, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on all day because that's what feeds me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
I love being here anytime, and maybe you could come on my horror show one of these days.
I would love to do that.
You'd have to get some makeup.
I will. I'll
All
look like a
right.
zombie or whatever you want.
Something like that at the time. All right.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And come on back next time, because if it's your business, we're talking about it right here on Mind Your Own Business TV.
Thanks.